move back in the agenda to public question time. Now, if I can just ask the committee clerk if we have the member of the public available, because we've been having some difficulty getting connectivity, I think.
Yes, we have. Thank you, Chair. Mr. Corrigan is going to try and join us now through a telephone link.
Right. Okay.
So I'm going to admit him now.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Hello, it's Steve Siddons, Chair of Cabinet. I'm sorry that there's been some difficulty with the connectivity this morning, but at least you've managed to get through by telephone. What I'm proposing is that you've asked a series of questions. I think there's 7 in total, and what I'd like you to do is, if you would be good enough to just go through those questions, and then I will provide you with some answers to them.
Well, all questions, answers today, and I'll be allowed my follow-up question.
No, there won't be any follow-up question. You're allowed to ask a question, and you will get an answer for each one.
Are you proposing reading me the answers today?
I will read the answer today, and I will make you sure you have them in writing as well.
Right. Okay. Hang on. But I am allowed a follow-up question.
I'll ask Mrs. Dixon to clarify that for me.
Am I in the meeting now?
You are in the meeting. Yes. Yes, you're in the public meeting.
Our rules don't currently prohibit a follow-up question, Chair.
All right. Okay.
Cabinet. Thank you.
Okay. I apologise for that. I thought that was the situation, but carry on, Mr. Corrigan.
Right. My question is, I've recently received a written reply from the leader in relation to the question I put to Cabinet on the meeting of the 15th of September. I was unable to attend. I'm grateful for his frank replies. I note that he has blamed the Travel Lodge losses on the previous administration. Number 1, please confirm why the questions I raised and the written answers were not included in the minutes of that meeting or shown as addendum to that meeting. Number 2, please confirm the name of the members and the officers' titles who sat on the board to agree to the purchase of Travel Lodge. Number 3, does the council accept a mistake was made when Travel Lodge was purchased, even if it is the benefit of the knowledge of subsequent events? Has the council undertaken any discussions or negotiations with any third parties with a view to the disposal of the investment in the Travel Lodge Hotel? 5, has the council had any discussions with Scottish Estates 1 Limited? 6, has the council considered the exercise the break clause option that it received as part of the CVA? 7, is the council continuing to pursue any further investments under the commercial investment strategy? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corrigan. In answer to those questions, first of all, question 1, please confirm why the questions were raised and written answers were not included in the minutes. The answer to that is, following the submission of your questions, you were given adequate opportunity to take part in the virtual cabinet meeting on the 15th of September through either online or telephone connection, and you declined that invitation. According to the council's constitution, if questioners who have submitted written questions are unable to be present, the questions will not be dealt with. Instead, the chair, me, chose to use my discretion, and remember, I didn't have to answer those questions because you weren't present, but I did answer them and replied to you in writing. But because they weren't at the meeting, they didn't take part of they weren't part of the minutes. And incidentally, just a point of order, I didn't blame the previous administration. What I said was that the commercial strategy was set up during the tenure of the previous administration. If you've chosen to interpret that as me blaming them, that's your interpretation. Question 2, please confirm the names of the members and officer titles who sat on the board that agreed the purchase of the Travelodge. Appendix 3 of the Commercial Property Investment Strategy, which is a publicly available document, sets out the governance arrangements of the Property Investment Governance Board. It's available on the council's website, so you can get that information from there, and I'm sure an officer will point you in that appropriate direction. Your question 3, does the council accept that a mistake was made when Travelodge was purchased, even if this is with the benefit of the knowledge of the subsequent events? The answer is 2 similar questions in nature were asked at the Audit Committee meeting held on the 23rd of July, as well as the September meeting of full council. It's been explained previously that the council has an approved commercial property investment strategy, which underpins the council's commercial property investments. This strategy sets out the governance and risk management arrangements that the council has in place for commercial property investment decisions, and is drafted to follow the Chartered Institute of Public Finance and Accountancy best practice guidance. The council's decisions to invest in commercial property investments have fully complied with the governance, risk management and decision-making arrangements set out within this strategy. The council continues to receive a rental income, which over the life of the lease more than covers the cost of both capital and interest payments, as well as providing a long-term surplus income stream that is invested in frontline services. Question 4, has the council undertaken any discussions or negotiations with any third parties with a view to the disposal of its investment in the Travelodge Hotel? And the answer is no. The council has not undertaken any discussions or negotiations with any third parties with a view to disposal of its investment in the Travelodge Hotel. Question 5, has the council had any discussion with Scottish Estates 1 Limited? The answer to that is, in order to provide you with a categorical answer which covers all council staff, your question will be processed as a Freedom of Information request. Question 6, has the council considered the exercise of the break clause option that it received as part of the CVA? And the answer is yes, the council has considered such a break clause, and the council has decided not to break, but to take the option to extend the lease in order to secure income for a longer term and thus add value. There is still extensive long-term value left in the remaining long lease, and to attempt to go to another operator at this time would be a risk and not as equitable as the current covenant strength. Question 7, is the council continuing to pursue any further investments under the commercial property investment strategy? And the answer is, at the time of writing, the council is not currently pursuing any investments in accordance with the commercial property investment strategy. Those are the answers to your questions, Mr. Corrigan. And in accordance with the rules, have you any supplementary question?
Well, first, a point of order. I was actually refused admission to the town hall for the previous meeting when you rejected my minutes, so that isn't accurate. I was not allowed, positively disallowed, access to the facilities that I'd used previously. So, more clarity. And to my previous questions and my previous answers, I will submit them directly to all councillors, myself, the questions and the answers, so that all councillors get to see them in the absence of you attaching them to the minutes. That's my response to number 1. To number 3. Does the council accept the statement of Travelodge? You say that you adhered with the council, that with the government guidance, the PWLB. There was actually a revised guidance that you actually did not take credence of, but I will follow that under separate cover directly with you in due course. Has the council undertaken any negotiations with any third parties with the Travelodge? No. With the Scottish Estates, are you telling me that this is a verbal freedom of information that you are submitting now? I'll receive an answer in 21 days, or do I need to follow this up? This is question number 5, with a written freedom of information, or are you accepting this verbally?
Well,
and thank you for answering number 4.
Okay. Well, shall I just answer that? What we're saying is that because we want to give you a categorical answer to that, we will be required to ask all staff members whether, because you've asked a very broadly based question about Scottish Estates. So in order to be clear on the answer that we give you, we need to make sure that we ask all potential staff of the council whether they've had any dealings with Scottish Estates 1. And we can do that best through a freedom of information. But what I said was, it is being processed as a freedom of information, so you don't need to do anything.
Can I make a couple of points? First of all, Scottish Estates 1 was specifically mentioned in the internal CVA documents that your legal department will have. So I would suggest that one of the 2 corporate directors will actually have that knowledge, because any discussions we'll be having with Scottish Estates that were referred to in the CVA documents would be directly known by those. So a freedom of information isn't necessary. I could have the answer now. You've had 3 days, 4 days notice for these questions. There's no reason why I can't have this answer now.
Mr. Corrigan, this format, this cabinet, is not here to bring council officers to this forum to answer questions from you. This is your opportunity to ask some questions, and we will answer them in the most appropriate way possible. And that's what we're doing.
Right, I'll wait my 21 days then.
Have you got any other?
That's it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Just forgive me. I've been on hold for 8 minutes and been rejected 7 times. So forgive my frustrations.
Yes, I do appreciate that, and I, as I said, I apologise for the fact that you've had difficulty getting into the meeting. I don't know why that was. We've had one of our senior IT officers working on this, so at least you have got through now. But I do apologise. And in relation to the first point you made about not being allowed into the meeting, it wasn't that you were not allowed into the meeting. You wanted to, my recollection was, you wanted to come into the council offices to undertake it because you couldn't use your own facilities, and because of COVID restrictions, we had to refuse that. We are trying to accommodate you as much as possible, and the preferred route, which most people are using, is by dialing into Zoom. And I appreciate you've had difficulty with that this morning, but we're all trying to operate in the best way possible under the circumstances. And unfortunately, putting staff at risk by bringing various people into the town hall when it's closed is not appropriate in this instance. So
have consideration for me. I work frontline on the seafront, and we've had 1 million visitors this year. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your questions, Mr. Corrigan, and the points you've raised, we'll pick up on them. But thank you again.
Very kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Right.